658, as you proceed north along the highway, have north practice area occupied and a helicopter southbound over the highway.
Alright, we'll look out for the helicopter in the north practice area and southbound over the highway, 658. Alright, we're going to turn left onto the runway. Alright, wind select showing a little bit of right crosswind, but nothing major. Have you ready? Full power. Alright, power set, gauge is green, airspeed's alive, we're making good power. Looking for 65.
Airspeed's alive. 65. Almost there, 65.
There we go, and we're looking for 82 on climb out. And I'd say crab to the right just a little bit so we don't overfly that plane. I believe I saw a plane anyway, holding down here on the hammerhead.
I don't see him.
Maybe not, maybe I'm seeing things. That's probably just the Hawaiian that was vacating. Either way, we'll climb straight ahead to 500, and then once we hit 500, we'll start a turnout for the Queen K.
Okay. Hey, you're right, a little nose heavy on.
Southwest 2605, Kona Tower on departure, turn right heading 300, runway 17, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff, runway 17, right turn 300, Southwest 2605.
There we go.
Cessna 658, transition northbound east of the highway.
We'll stay east of the Queen K on the transition, 658.
405, Charlie Mike, traffic via Cessna 1782, northeastbound east of the highway.
Looking for Tropic Bird, Charlie Mike.
There we go, so we'll start our left turn, and we'll just stay on the mountain side of this road just a little bit. We don't have to be like crazy far on the interior, just make sure you keep it off your left side.
Yeah. And we're going to curve with it?
Yeah, we'll follow the contour. Because most of the times the helicopter traffic will come in off the Four Seasons area, and then they'll be like right over the highway the whole way, and they literally follow the same curve all the way in.
Yeah.
It's one of their arrivals, quote unquote.
How you doing back there?
Good. Good.
And then for cruise settings in this plane, typically what I'll do is
2605, contact departure.
about 2350 on the RPM, and that'll buy you like 105 to 110 miles an hour, and just trim out any climb you're getting.
Yep.
Right there, we're just about 1,500 feet if you want to nose it forward a little.
Kona Tower, helicopter 405, Charlie Mike, we have the Cessna in sight.
FA Mobile Tower.
FA Mobile, like cross runway 17 from the tapping to light.
FA Mobile, cross runway 17 at the approach in, report went off.
There we go. I'll just work on slowly lean this out. I still don't see that.
Helicopter 5 Charlie Mike, say landing point again.
Copy Kilo 4 Charlie Mike. Tower Hawaiian 258, visual 17.
Hawaiian 258, Kona Tower, runway 17, cleared to land.
17, cleared to land, Hawaiian 258.
405 Charlie Mike, taxiway Alpha Kilo, cleared to land.
Alpha Kilo, cleared to land, 5 Charlie Mike.
FA Mobile, roger.
Helicopter is the one over here, Bravo. North back area. We're at 8 operation, requesting full stop Alpha Kilo.
Alaska 894, Kona Tower on departure, turn right heading 250, runway 17, clear for takeoff.
Heading 250 on departure, clear for takeoff, 17, Alaska 2894.
7 Romeo Bravo, do you have company traffic in sight over the Queen K southbound?
Traffic in sight for 7 Romeo Bravo.
7 Romeo Bravo, roger, follow that traffic. Number 2, taxiway Alpha, Kilo clear to land.
Number 2 Alpha Kilo clear to land, 7 Romeo Bravo.
Kona Tower, Cessna 658, we're clearing to the northeast.
658, frequency change approved.
Frequency change approved, we'll see you in a bit, 658. Alright, cool. Now that we're out of the airspace, we can do whatever the heck we want. If you want to head towards the coast, I think that's probably the play here. Okay. We'll get out of most of this convection, all these little light bumps we keep feeling.
Yeah.
And we'll fly right over the Four Seasons Hualalai, big famous world-renowned resort. Got the Schwab golf course just off our right, way upslope. That one you kind of miss sometimes. You're driving around, you won't see it. Yeah, it's a real prestigious golf course.
Things spread out.
Oh yeah. Some of the prettier beaches on the island here too. Unfortunately, we weren't able to fly right over it, but you got two beaches down off our left wing, like closer to the point. The one in the background, that's Keikahakai, and then the one a little bit more in the foreground with the really pearly white sand beach, a little bit bigger of a beach, that's Makalavena. Makalavena is probably the prettiest beach on the island, in my opinion. And then just off our left side here where all the cars are parked, just under the wing, definitely a lot closer, is Kua Bay.
Yeah, we've been there.
Kua Bay is nice. I mean, it's I'm actually surprised it's as crowded as it is for, you know, the middle of the week, but...
Yeah, this morning we were over there, I believe.
Black sand or white sand?
Sorry, it was loud.
Beaches, South Bay, for Kiholo to, excuse me, 1.7.
This way of it.
Huh. Well, there's a lot of pretty beaches along this way. I'll try to point them out as we go, see if we can figure it out. Make a quick radio call. We're on the island traffic now, so now's when we're just going to be like talking and addressing. We have a helicopter who's A-Bay heading for Kiholo at this same altitude. So we can either descend down a little bit, down to like 1500, or we can just keep a climb going. I think we're probably going to be happier if we go a little lower. Okay. Cessna 658, we're just offshore, just off the north end of Four Seasons here, 1700, and northbound for Kauai along the shoreline. Descending for 1.5.
It's cool seeing the lava flow from up here.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. What's interesting too is all of this fresh lava you see here, all these black fingers from Hualalai are like less than 250 years old. They're relatively young, geologically speaking. In fact, all of that resort area of like the Waikoloa Resorts complex with the Hilton and the Monolani and all of that is built on the 1859 lava flow. So it's, you know, 170 years. It's pretty young.
Yeah.
And then that one goes all the way up to almost to the summit of Mauna Loa. It's at like the 10,500 foot mark. This beach right here is Kiholo Bay. Kiholo Bay is actually really nice. It's one of the nicer black sand beaches on the island. It's kind of a hidden gem, so to speak. There's actually a lot of people on this island that don't know about it. I was talking to a friend recently who's Hawaiian, been here, lived here his whole life.
Shore, coming up Kiholo, 1.8. We're going to beach out head for Kona. Shock to it.
Alright, so 658, we're just offshore Kiholo. We got you in sight. We're about 1.5 miles offshore at 1.5, trekking north.
I see him.
Okay, I got you now, thanks.
Yeah, he's on the interior there. What's also interesting is that ridge line on the interior. You can see all the little hills on the interior. That is one single 200-foot thick lava flow that came from Hualalai. I forget the time frame of that. I think it was like the 1700s, somewhere around there. But it's a one single lava flow that's 200 feet thick. It's kind of hard to fathom that. But
wow.
As we work our way up the coast, a couple little coves here. Some of them you can actually hike to, but Lord knows I don't know where the trailhead starts for them. There's one little surf beach here called Lone Palm, which follows off. It's one of the more notable trails that you can see going to the road. The next real notable beach is A Bay. It's at the bottom end of the Waipi'o Resorts. That's actually a really popular beach. That's where like Lava Beach Club is and all of that as well.
Yeah, we've been there once.
If you go to that beach, the best place to go on that beach is to go to the south end. Everybody, for whatever reason, stays right by the lagoon. It's where the sand's all hard packed and real beat down. If you go to the south end of the beach, it almost looks like the beach ends, but it doesn't. You go past a couple little rocks, and next thing you know, you have this whole other swath of sand.
Yeah.
And that's where all like the marine life likes to hang out too.
Yeah,
so
I think we saw a couple turtles there.
Yeah, if there's going to be any turtles, they're typically on the south part.
Yeah, we did sunset there.
Nice.
Is that a black beach also?
Yeah, a lot of these
Black
are.
sand?
Yeah, the Big Island's got a lot of black sand beaches, more so than white sand, honestly. And you may or may not already know this, but I always like to mention it. Hawaii does not restrict shoreline access. So if you see a beach out in front of a resort and you're like, I really like that, I want to go there, you can go there. They can't tell you otherwise. Some of the resorts are getting kind of ballsy lately. They're trying to not allow people out there, but they're getting kickback from it. Like they can't restrict it. Yeah, you're allowed access.
Yeah.
Cessna 658, offshore A Bay for Kauai High 1,500. There's a really pretty little beach in this next little cove. It's a black sand beach called 49s. You'll see all the signage in Waipi'o, both like by the Queen's Court and the King's Court. They all say like Beach 49. If you follow the signs, it leads to this little cove. It's a little black sand beach. Really good snorkeling, actually, weirdly enough. If you swim out from that beach out along the rocks, there's really good snorkeling. Plus, you'll find a souvenir of somebody's golf ball that couldn't keep it on the land. There's always a ton of golf balls litter in the water, but really good snorkeling off that point. And it's in almost a little bit of a cove, so it's usually pretty protected from most of the big surf. It takes a pretty exceptional swell for there to be any surf in there.
Good for paddleboard.
Yeah, really good. I see a lot of paddleboarders come out of there. Same with the Manalani. So the Manalani Resort's really great for snorkeling, and I see a lot of paddleboarders come out of there too. Some of the best snorkeling on the island, though, is Puako, the stretch of homes that we're coming up on. You can see the reef head in the water up ahead. Really good shoreline fishing, too, from what I've been told. I've never fished it, but from what I've been told, it's really nice.
That has the pullouts where you can park between the houses, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went to is it Pua Beach? There's the bathroom and everything. And then Hapuna is just on the other side of it.
Yeah, so okay. There's a couple beaches up there. You've got Hapuna Beach. You got 69s. It has some Hawaiian name too, which I can never remember. But 69s is in the trees just south of it.
Yeah, that's where we went this morning.
That's a nice beach. It had like the natural shade, a lot of rocks and stuff, but you got all the trees on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, that beach is pretty nice.
That's where my brother told us to go for stand-up paddleboard.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do that out of there. It's you just gotta be careful because those kiawe trees are gnarly, man. The thorns on those trees are gnarly. But it is a nice beach. But then, yeah, you've got a couple other beaches. You got Puna Beach, Mauna Kea Beach. There's actually a little hidden beach just north of Mauna Kea called Maumai. Maumai is a really, really nice little spot. There's two ways to get there. You either go to Mauna Kea and there's a little turn off to the right by an industrial building. It takes you down a little trail and then you can hike down to Maumai. Or the more common way is you go to Spencer's Beach in the corner and then just hike through the little trail at the end. It will take you to Maumai. A little cloudy. This is that wind shear I was talking about. So you get this band of clouds that forms on the interior and they look like they're just shredded apart.
Yeah.
That's the wind coming through Waimea meeting the backflow coming towards the shore.
Gotcha.
right there, 69.
Nope.
Yeah, we came over to the right. There's like the rock in the water. We were a little bit to the right of it.
Yeah, that's where I usually go when I go there too. But I've heard the left side's really nice, but I've never, for whatever reason, I just never seem to go to that side.
There were already people there this morning, so I went to where there weren't.
Yeah, well, that's usually what determines where I go to. Like, there's people over there. I don't want to go there.
Yeah.
There's a hay owl in this corner too, just the slope of Spencer's. It's like a popular little touristy spot, but hay owl's just a Hawaiian temple. For various reasons, it can be culturally or spiritually significant. It could have been like an old gathering spot, an old meeting hall. It could be whatever. This one is an homage to King Kamehameha. This bay is where he amassed his armies to go unify Hawaii, conquer Hawaii basically, and put it under one kingdom. So there's a little trail that leads up to the hay owl. That one you can actually go and visit and venture through. There's a couple more up on the north end of the island, and you'll see like little structures along the coast. There's a lot of hay owls and like culturally important spots, quote unquote, as we work our way up around this Kohala coast. That's also why there's not a lot of development. You won't see a whole lot of homes or anything near the water. Cessna 658 offshore Kauai High 1.5, tracking north along the Kohala coast to Apollo Point. There's actually a little swimming spot there too at the end of Kauai High. I am drawing a blank on the name of it, but you see those 3 pylons in the water where all the cars are parked there? You can actually swim in that bay and like jump off the pylons and stuff. It's kind of like a local spot, but either way, you'll see people grilling and hanging out. Whatever. Yeah. It's a nice spot to go swim. You won't, there's not really any like snorkeling or anything like that, but if you just want to take a dip, it's a nice spot to go.
Yep.
So we got our giant Kohala Canyon, this big giant ravine that goes pretty much to the summit. There's a fair chance you guys have already done this, but just worth mentioning, one of the prettier roads on the island is that you can see the tree band up along the ridge.
Yeah.
That's the Kohala Mountain Road. It connects Waimea to Hawaii up on the north end. And there's a lot of scenic pull-off spots. I've heard the road's not in the best condition these days. The last time I went on that road was like probably 10 years ago, but it's a really nice road nonetheless. And if you're going to take this road, if you're going to go to the north end, I strongly recommend you take that road as opposed to this low road. I mean, the low road's pretty, but really kind of pales in comparison to the high road.
Yeah. Yeah, we've taken that. They go over to Waimea?
Yeah, Waimea.
Waimea.
They were filling potholes on this road yesterday.
What was that?
They were filling potholes on this road yesterday, so it was like spraying the car.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they wouldn't even, it wasn't packed in the road, so there was just rocks there, and the cars would just kick it up.
My favorite was, there used to be a little community on the east side. In 2018, they got that big eruption, ended up repaving it, but Kapoho. Whenever Kapoho would have potholes, the county would always just drag their feet to get down there to do anything about it. So they would, the residents would just pack it with coconuts. So every hole on the road would just be filled with like giant mounds of coconuts. Kind of funny. And some of them were deep. I mean, by the time the county got there, I mean, you had like, 3 feet of coconut in the ground. It's like
they had to dig it out.
Yeah, so you see the worker out there like, God dang it, out there digging out coconuts out of the road.
Yeah. Oh, you can see is that the coast trail?
Yeah,
sort of?
There's a coastal trail that connects like Kohala Ranch, Kohala Estates here. It works its way up. There's a couple little coves that you can go to. But yeah, it connects back like up to the road towards the south end of the homes there.
Okay.
But yeah, this is a little coastal trail. I've never hiked it personally, but I know a lot of people who have, and they like it. They seem to think it's a really nice little hike. Hot though, it's very hot. There's no shade or anything.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's nice and smooth out here.
We're going to eat those words in a minute.
Yeah.
You see the color change on the water? I was actually just about to mention it.
Oh, yeah.
How we go from like smooth water to all of a sudden white caps and
that's
darker blue. That's where, yeah. So as soon as we get like under these clouds, we'll probably start to encounter a little bit of turbulence. Usually it fans out like away from the convergence spot. So even up at altitude, even if we're not at the color change, we'll start to hit some turbulence. And it's usually only the roughest, like, until we get maybe a mile or so into it. By the time you get around the point, it's usually pretty smooth. The airflow is lamellar, but it's high velocity, so I mean, we'll be moving a little slow over the ground, but it'll be smooth. This area right through here is where we'll have a little bit of turbulence, though. I can see Maui off in the distance.
Yeah.
If it was a little bit clearer, if we didn't have so much fog right now, you could actually see as far west as West Molokai here on some days. So you can see Molokai, Lanai, Koho'olave, all of it. So right at the bend of the road, you'll see the road takes a bend there. There's a little red roof building down by the water. There's a little beach park there called Mahu Kona. Mahu Kona is, it's not really a beach. They call it a beach park, but that's an exaggeration. It's basically an old sunken boat launch. So there's like some dock equipment sunken underwater. And there's, it's a good little swimming spot. You gotta be careful if you swim too far offshore because the current will start to take you. I'd say maybe like 2-3 times a year, paddleboarder or a kayaker or something comes out of that bay and they get swept a couple miles out to sea before they can get out of the current.
Wow. And
then, because basically all it is, you just got to start turning south and get out of that.
Yeah.
But it takes a little while, and every now and again the Coast Guard's got to go find somebody. So maneuvering in this guy is 97 for what that's worth. So yeah, if we need to, we can slow it up a little bit. Like I said, it's usually the worst right on the edge, but once we get through it, it'll be nice and smooth. Yeah, this is our mountain wave and slash wind shear. If you never really deal with strong wind shears, this is what a wind shear is. You're going from one type of airflow to a whole different type of airflow. And so right through here, especially, you can see what I was talking about. How there's all these little rock structures. And some of them are heiau, some of them aren't. A lot of it's undocumented. We have no idea what it is or what it's for. This little site right here, you can see there's like a little visitor center sort of thing, a little rest station.
Yeah.
That one, there's actually petroglyphs down in the rocks. That one,
yeah, we went to that. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, but I didn't know there were petroglyphs.
Yeah. Yeah, from what I've been told, they don't really advertise the petroglyphs. But you can go check them out. I mean, supposedly they're there.
I'll have to ask my brother.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never actually gone there, but that's just what I've been told.
Yeah, it was hot. Yeah. I walked down to the little hut that's to the right.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, yep, I'm back up.
Yeah, this whole end of the island's pretty hot. No clouds, no trees, no nothing to provide any shade. And then Mahu Kona, what I was talking about, is right here with this like long red roof building there.
Ooh. Yeah, we pulled down some of the other roads just to see what was there.
Honestly, that's like the best way to find anything here is like just if you see a road, it looks interesting, just go down it and see where it leads. Just gotta be careful. If you see like a kapu sign or do not enter, then don't enter. But
yeah, I have on my map. It has like private land and state land. It'll like show all that. So I was watching what we were going through before we went in.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, you're not going to do IFR training in that.
What, in the turbulence?
Yeah, trying to hold 100 feet.
You can add a little power back in there. We can just work on like climbing up a little bit. Yeah. Usually what I do is like if it tries to make me climb, I just take the climb as opposed to letting it speed up, and then we'll kind of like drift our way back down after.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get some real gnarly mountain wave here with 3,000 foot a minute climb or descent rates, and that's always fun. It's always exciting when you're full power VY and you're descending at 1,500 foot a minute. In fact, I was flying with an old German guy and his kid a couple months ago, and we had some of the worst wind we've had in a long time coming over this hill. And I told him, I was like, well, we can go up north if you really want to see the valleys, but it's going to be a headache to try to get up there. We can do it, but is it going to be worth it? I don't know. I was like, yeah, I'd like to see it. Okay, we come up here. And I'm doing my best to navigate through them, and we actually missed most of the big cells. We had some turbulence, but no real updraft or downdraft. It finally got to a point, I was like, we either take the downdraft or the updraft. So we opted for the updraft, and I warned him beforehand. I was like, look, you're going to climb like crazy. Just be ready for that. And so we hit this cell, and immediately, all three of us are just like sandwiched down into our seat, you know, headsets pulling down on our face, vertical speeds pegged, and our altimeter's just ticking up. We went from 3,000 foot to 5,700 foot in about 40 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I had to laugh too, because he spoke, you know, he's a German national, but he spoke really, really good English. And the moment we hit the turbulence, he just starts going off in German, like screaming in German. And the kid in the back seat too, and it was pretty funny. And he's like, that's amazing, I've never felt anything like that. I'm like, yeah, well, that's mountain wave. You know, if you fly somewhere that's mountainous, then you'll experience that kind of stuff, but it's interesting. So basically, we're just going to work our way up around the point. Waipi'o Point, it's a little class golf airport up here. They do pretty much nothing out of it. There's a skydiving operation that happens up here, but they haven't been operating in a while. I'm not actually really sure what happened to them.
Okay.
Nonetheless, this airfield has an interesting history. There used to be an airfield on the south end of the island as well, very similar to Waipi'o Point. They got their origin as submarine hunting bases. So just prior to the U.S.'s involvement in World War II, they knew the Japanese were going to attack, right? They knew that something was coming, but it didn't seem like reasonable that they would just launch an attack from afar, like how they did. Some of the strategists thought, oh, they might want to have like a forward operating base, just with how remote Hawaii is. And the Big Island seemed like a likely candidate because the infrastructure was pretty bad, really hard to get around the island, and frankly, you could set up shop at South Point, be down there for 2-3 weeks, and nobody would even know you're there, right? So they had set up a sub-hunting station on the north end and the south end. Supposedly, the south one actually did find a scouting sub. Apparently, that was declassified fairly recently. I've never validated that, but from what I've heard. But that airport really had no utility for anybody in the area. There's not a lot of residents in Nalehu or Pahala or anything. So that one got decommissioned. This one they decided to keep. It got renamed to Waipi'o Point. It became part of the Department of Transportation. And now it services Hawaii and Kapa'au. But it gets like 100 operations a year. There's like nothing that happens up here.
There's a big square structure or something down there.
Is that the other temple?
Yeah, these two right here are the other two heiaus on the north end. Two little temples. There is a dirt road that comes along the coast that you can go down. I'm not really sure if they have those gated off or not, but I know you can go up to them.
We tried driving down one of the roads and it said authorized vehicles only.
Yeah.
It looked like it turned to dirt and then it had it gated one way, but we just turned around then.
There's a lot of roads on the island where they put signage up like that just to keep people out.
I was wondering what was going on. My strap came undone.
Oh, you want to hold it for a second?
Yeah, your plane.
All right, my airplane. Polo traffic, Cessna 658, we're 2,000 feet, about a mile and a half to the west, making an offshore transition west to east for the valley, Zupola.
I think we tried coming in on the Coast Guard Road, is what it was called.
Okay.
Like I think the other one heading back to this house and everything, and then you're supposed to take a right to head over towards the... But it had the sign saying authorized vehicles only, so...
Yeah, no sense in pushing it.
Okay, my plane.
Alright, your controls.
My controls.
And Holland Traffic, Blue 5 offshore, wide up and up for turn, 800 climbing, Holland Traffic. Yeah. I'm going to go around Kona town first, though.
You find the radial block going over this mountain, you can't hear them on the backside?
What was that, sorry?
Like, you can't hear, can you hear traffic on this side of the mountain from over there?
You can, but I mean, it's radio, it's line of sight, right? So, I mean, if they're like in the valleys or past the ridge, yeah, you won't hear them.
Yeah.
There's a couple RCOs up there that sometimes they'll ping off of, so once in a while you'll pick up traffic from weird areas, but that you wouldn't be able to hear otherwise, but generally speaking, yeah, if it's masked by the train, you're not going to hear them.
So did you grow up here?
I did. I moved here. I wasn't born here, but I moved here when I was 12 years old. When I was a kid, my parents moved us out here. And I'm 28 now, so.
You grew up here.
Yeah, that's basically what I say. I'm like, all my important life things happened here.
Yeah.
The running joke is like, I know what snow looks like, but I grew up in Hawaii, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up on in Puna District, like the southeast end of this island. Kind of affectionately referred to as the armpit of the island, but it's I don't know. It taught me about the Hawaiian culture and the Hawaiian life very abruptly, very quickly. So I'll take it.
Have you found cool things to go check out from flying around?
Oh yeah, no, for a while, like when I first.
My left door is like really vibrating big, so I'm gonna make a landing back to the airport on it then.
I don't know what the heck he's talking about. There's like when I first started flying around, I actually used to keep like a little notepad. I'd be like, well, that place is cool, you know, just writing down little spots to go check out. And I've actually visited a lot of them. They're it's neat. But the problem with the Big Island though is like you've got all these crazy big sea cliffs everywhere you go. So just because a place is pretty along the coast or what have you, like it doesn't mean you can go there. And then even the stuff on the interior, like you're saying, a lot of times there's like there's a sign, for instance. It's like, oh, that looks cool. I want to go check it out. And you get there, and sure enough, it's like blocked off or can't actually go there. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really neat things worth checking out. And the air is the best way to scout them out. So you can see the valley chain up ahead as we're coming up to it. So like I was saying in the office, Kohala supposedly used to be about 3,300 feet taller than it currently is. And then like 180, 190,000 years ago, there was a single landslide event that cleaved off this whole end of the island. That's why it almost looks like somebody came up and just took a bite out of this corner of the island. It generated a 1,000 foot tsunami. There's evidence of that tsunami on the side of Haleakala and up in the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. And basically paved the way for the erosion to take hold, and it's what created like the sheer cliff, for instance, and then erosion and everything else just gouged out the ravines. As with everywhere in Hawaii, the further northwest you are, the more subject to erosion it is, the older the land is. And so this is the oldest part of the Big Island, and as dumb as this sounds, it's the only part of the island that has any real abundance of naturally occurring dirt. And dirt's a hot commodity on this island, like to a point where people steal it. I have to laugh because anytime the county's making a project or you know, filling something in, they'll have a big pile of dirt on the side of the road. They'll put up signs like, don't steal the dirt, basically. And you give it like a day or two and you'll be driving by and you'll see Bretta Man out there with his, you know, Tacoma out there just shoveling dirt in the back, keeping an eye over his shoulder like, where's the cops at?
Yeah.
Kind of funny. And then to compound that too, Kohala's in like just the right spot where the moisture coming off the Pacific pushes up against Mauna Kea and condenses, and it just continues to push north, and it through convection and everything, evaporation and everything else, builds moisture up along the Hamakua, and then by the time it reaches Kohala, it's pretty much at its peak saturation. So these valleys are usually drenched in rain, which again helps to lead to the erosion. So there's a lot of little like riverheads that you'll see poking through these valleys. This is that Makapala lighthouse, the stick with a light on it, basically. There's also like our big wave surfing spot on the island. So whenever, like you got the Eddie Aikau and the like Waimea Bay tow-ins and stuff going on Oahu with the big northwest swells, if the swell direction is just right, this spot will get very big too. I've flown over this bay and been witness to 30 some odd foot surf rolling into the bay, big monster waves, people doing tow-in surfing. Pretty neat stuff.
Where's that stick with the light on it? Oh, there it
right
is.
there off the point, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't hike to that.
It's, I mean, it's pretty. Like it's a scenic lookout, but I definitely don't think it's worth the hike.
I think we got down to those houses that are up there, and like, no.
Yeah.
Just not this road.
Good enough.
I didn't want to take my brother's car on the road.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Big Island traffic, Cessna 658, Makapala 1,700 for Waipi'o. beach park. We're coming up on Keokea. It's right where the little green roof is down there. Not one I would necessarily recommend going to. It's a pretty place to like eat your lunch, for instance, but it's definitely not a beach park. Not something you can really swim in. You can launch a kayak there. That's about it.
We stopped there.
Yeah, it's nice. It's I mean it's it's a nice spot, but
yeah, it's cool seeing it from the air of where it is exactly. Then we drove the road to the trailhead.
Yeah, you go like back up and then back to the Kohala Road to the left there.
Yeah, to the end of the road.
Yep.
Kind of cool seeing all the graves still hidden in the trees and everything down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that grave site right there. You look into the trees, there's more graves into the trees.
Yeah. Old cemetery there. So now if you'd like, I mean, we're welcome. We can descend down a little bit. Like I said, I usually like to do these at about 1,000 feet. That kind of puts everything to scale. But
yeah,
this is Palolo Point, that Palolo Valley, like you're talking about, the trailhead. Have you guys ever hiked down in there yet, or no?
No, I can't because my knee.
Well, yeah. Well, either way, it is a really, it's not too bad. Like the first leg of the trail is really daunting. It's like this crazy, ridiculously steep, but the other parts of the switchback aren't too bad. Just that first one's really bad, but a little black sand beach on the bottom. Most days the beach is kind of inhospitable, just from the high surf. But if you go down there on a relatively tame day, it's actually a pretty nice beach at the bottom. And there's like swings in the trees and stuff. A lot of people go down there and picnic or camp out or what have you. Cessna 658, Palolo Valley, 1,300 for 1,000, eastbound for Waipi'o. Oh, there's the lookout with like 6 parking spots. Yeah. Everybody's got to park on the side of the road.
10-minute parking only. Hike as far as you can.
Alright. Make sure you sprint down the trail.
Yeah.
There's actually a trail from Palolo that'll take you up along the ridge and then down into this next valley. The next valley is Honokani Nui. Honokani Nui's got 2 branches of it, but it goes almost up to the summit. You can see it's a really deep valley. And so anytime you like charter one of the helicopter tours, for instance, they'll take you up over the ridge line, they'll drop you into this guy, you'll do like a little serpentine turn in the back, and then they'll have you come out of one of these branches. And it's always super spectacular because as soon as you beach out from these valleys and you look off to your right, you'll see the little Mokopuku rocks out here. And it's just like big sheer cliffs. It's really spectacular. But nonetheless, really pretty valley. So this is Honokani Nui West, and you got Honokani Nui East, which is this little itty bitty beach at the bottom, little tiny part of the ravine.
Wow. Yeah, don't let your phone touch the window or else it'll be all blurry.
I don't know why that is. I'm about the focal range, but then you've got the Mokopuku Island Rocks. There's a couple little island rocks offshore here. And the valley just behind it is Honokani Iki. Honokani Iki is kind of like the sister valley to Nui. This one has a name too, but it's a lesser known. It doesn't really go all the way to the water. I forget the name of this valley. But
it's probably a heck of a waterfall at the bottom when it flows out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, most of these have some pretty spectacular waterfalls in them whenever there's actually rain.
I'm almost in slow flight, but I'm not trying to put us in a full slow flight here.
Oh no, you're good.
Yep.
Yeah, it just always feels a lot slow. I mean, we're doing, 75 knots, 85 miles an hour, but we're doing 50 over the ground just from the wind.
Yeah.
Honokani Iki, and then you've got this next valley is Honopue. Honopue is really pretty. There's one central waterfall right in the back. Hopefully the lighting works for it. It wasn't flowing too much yesterday, but it did have a little bit of a stream coming off of it. This guy's always on postcards, and it's always getting some showtime. Really pretty little valley. Cessna 658 coming up on Honopue, 800 feet for Waipi'o, right along the shoreline. I got a little bit of a shadow, but you can see the water flowing in the back. And then this stretch of coast here typically has flowing waterfalls. These rivers have deeper reserves, I suppose, so they can go a little while without rain and still flow. It always kills me. I mean, we're cruising around at 900 feet, and we're 50 to 100 feet below the the ridge height. That's even crazy. Lower coming up.
See if I can get us up a little higher so we get the wing out of the view.
If you ever get the opportunity, the North Shore of Molokai is really spectacular as well. Those are all about 17 or 1800 foot sea cliffs.
And I haven't seen any traffic out here yet.
No, actually, I might have gotten lucky. There's always, like, every day there's like a little bit of a lull in the flow, just like lunchtime or whatever. And it just depends on the day, but hit or miss. Usually this time of day you can get lucky, but hit or miss. Yeah, you can see some waterfalls down there flowing down in these little ponds. What I always find interesting about these waterfalls too is the fact that each lava flow's got a different chemical composition and they're different density. So as the river works its way through and erodes away the terrain, it hits hard spots and it'll pool up and like move elsewhere. And so you wind up with like these multi-tiered, like staged waterfalls. Like this one, for instance, this little trickle down the cliff face, you can see there's like a little pond just perched up on the cliff face where the water trickles in and then disperses elsewhere.
Oh yeah, I see it. Oh.
This little peninsula is Lapahoihoi Nui, not to be mistaken with the town of Lapahoihoi. Lapahoihoi Nui is just a little peninsula. They're doing like a land restoration project here, so you'll see some farming and like a little grass, I don't know what the heck they're doing with that little thatch building there. And a couple landing spots here too. You'll see a round clearing in the trees, and then sometimes you'll see helicopters parked at the base of that waterfall too. This is like Blue Hawaiian and Paradise's cheeky little like, hey, sorry we had to reschedule you, but we'll throw in a excursion, you know, we'll land you here.
This see a little ruins down there too.
Oh. This past Lapahoihoi Nui, this is the second largest valley. This is Waimanu. Waimanu Valley is the sister valley to Waipi'o. They share the same riverhead. It originates on one of the ridges in the back. Water flows down the ridge and then splits. And you basically have the same origin point for both. However, Waipi'o is also fed by the Alakahi stream, which originates from the Alakahi waterfall, which is way, way, way back in the notch of Waipi'o. And hard to see, hard to get to. So there's two ways you can get to this valley. You can either hike over this switchback trail, which always kills me because it's about 3 miles away the bird flies, but it's like an 8 or 9 mile hike just because of all the ups and downs and side to sides.
Yeah.
Or to the more daring, you can go back and actually hike over the ridge in the back and come out that way. I've been told that that's like a 2-day hike versus the Ridgeway is like a 8 to 12 hour hike.
One way?
It's both ways, but yeah, it's 8 to 12 hour hike getting in. Yeah.
Is there a trail that connects the entire thing that you can take?
No, not one that is like one single trail at least, no. There's a trail or two way up on the ridge, like way up on the summit, that kind of goes along the backside of all of these, but it's all private property and whatnot. You're not really supposed to be going through it.
Weird seeing those funky pine trees sticking out.
Yeah, they kind of stick out like a sore thumb, don't they?
There's a little waterfall back.
Yeah. And so then the last valley along the valley chain here is Waipi'o. Waipi'o Valley is the one that people are still living in. You can see the road that goes down into it too, 25% grade. And then it's closed right now from what I've heard. Yeah, you can't actually go down in it. They keep protesting it. They don't want people coming down in and trampling through everything. And
yeah.
I don't know, it's a mixed bag. They're also, from what I've heard, trying to annex themselves from the state of Hawaii, so there's still a community down here. It's mostly native Hawaiians, but not entirely. They're trying to annex this little area away from the state, but simultaneously they want the state to fix the road to get in and out of it, so the state's like, no, you can't have both. You can't have either, actually. How about that?
Yeah. We'll fix the road and we keep it.
Yeah, exactly. But you'll see Hi'ilave is that little notch off the side. There's usually a big waterfall flowing there. It might still be like trickling a little bit. They've been getting a little bit of a drought up here, so there's not a whole lot of waterfalls. But Hi'ilave is usually in that notch. That's that really pretty scenic waterfall that you see when you walk down in there. The one that there's a lot of excursions that'll take you out to.
Oh. I didn't realize because we went to this lookout point a couple days ago. I didn't realize there was a waterfall right below us.
Yeah, I know. That it's like literally right there, right below.
Yeah.
There's Waipi'o.
Pretty big valley, actually.
Yeah, it's big. It goes a good ways upslope, and it actually, like if you look at the maps too, it serpentines back in, so it takes a hard right, and then it goes like another mile or two upslope towards the summit.
Oh. Just don't be in there if there's a big wave.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. If another one of these guys happens, 1,000-some-odd foot tsunami, yeah, it's the last place you want to be.
Yeah.
Cool. So considering the wind, what I'd recommend is go out just a little more to the east. We'll go past this there's a little lighthouse off this peninsula. We'll go out just past that, and then you can make a left-hand turn. We'll start tracking back. Cessna 658, Waipi'o Valley. We're going to track east for the Kukui Highlight Lighthouse, 1,500, and then we're going to make a left-hand turn westbound for Bullet Point.
It's weird how all this land here is like a bunch of nothing.
A lot of it is what we affectionately refer to as rent-a-ranch. So, if the cattle ranchers and stuff need extra ranch land, they can come out here and put their cattle on it. But other than that, this is a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, and that eucalyptus forest is huge.
Yeah, you can see it over there.
Yeah, that's somewhere there?
Actually, yeah, that is too.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. Yeah, there's a whole lot of story behind that too, but long story made slightly less long. They were thinking about using it as like energy, basically for power, burn it, make power off it, because it's a relatively fast burning, hot burning wood. And they realized, it's a lot of logistics, it's not real good, it's real sappy, it makes a lot of debris on the roads, residents aren't going to like it. So they canned that idea, and they're like, maybe we can make paper out of it. Nah, it's not really good for paper. Nobody wanted to buy it for paper. Maybe China wants it. China originally kind of wanted it for whatever reason, I can't remember what. And then China backed out of the deal, and it's like, well, now we got nothing. Now we just got these giant eucalyptus forests with no purpose other than a windbreak. So we're just past the lighthouse now. At any point, whenever you're comfortable, you can make a left-hand turn. That's the town of Honoka'a there off the right. And the last still standing sugar mill, actually, that little A-frame building close to the water.
Okay.
It's the last still remaining sugar mill on the Hamakua coast. That's this whole coastline is really where Hawaii got its Filipino, Chinese, Japanese, Samoan, Indonesian, all of that kind of influence. A lot of it came from these plantations because it generated a lot of work when there wasn't a lot of work in the Pacific Basin. So a lot of people migrated here to work on the plantations.
Now we're gonna watch that ground.
Yeah, we'll go from 50 to 130.
Yeah. I was watching my horizon, and it was holding level, and then as I got about a beam of the wind, then it's like,
yeah, it just wants to slump off.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's another little lighthouse, huh? I didn't realize that.
Right there, right on the point. It's a lot smaller, but just a little white building. Yeah. And if you look closely too, in the rocks close to the water, right where you see like the heavy break in the water,
yeah,
there's like an old foundation.
Yeah,
I think the old lighthouse used to be built down there. I don't know why they built it literally on the water, but at some point it caved in. If you fly over on like really really calm surf, you can see the old debris under the water. And then they built that new one just up on the ridge. Somewhere up along the ridge, about 12 o'clock, like underneath that main chunk of cloud where it's a little bit thicker, there's a crashed, I want to say it's a B-25. It's an interesting story, but they were doing some night, like, radios out, lights out, op. They were, like, low level across the Pacific, working their way. I think it was from Hilo to Oahu. I can't remember exactly, but either way, one of them straight off course. And it's lights out, radios out, right? Can't see where they're going. Not in contact with each other, didn't know he had left the pack, and they flew basically straight into the mountain at cruise speed.
Wow.
And what was really interesting about it is they hit at such like an oblique angle that even at cruise speed they like skimmed the treetops, and it decelerated them well enough that, I mean, obviously the plane was totaled, but every single person on board walked away without a scratch. I think like that's an exaggeration. I think one person had like a busted up knee a little bit of broken skin, and one guy had like a cut on his head or something, but everybody's fine.
Wow.
So literally full speed, cruise speed into the side of a mountain, and they all walked away from it. So now it's really hard to find a day where the weather works to be up there to see it, but you can fly over it and you'll see a crashed bomber in the trees. Kind of neat.
You want to take the plane?
Sure. My controls?
Your controls. Christina?
Yeah.
Get everybody in here. Oh.
I mean, if I'm too close, I can go a little offshore.
You're pretty good.
Cessna 658 on a Pue for pull a point 1,500.
I wonder if those pools down there are warm or cold.
From what I've been told, they're actually pretty cold. It's river water coming off the mountain, so
yeah.
Even though it's usually sunbathed, like it's usually pretty chilly.
Yeah.
Once in a while, you'll fly along and you'll see somebody like swimming down in those pools right on the edge of the water. It's like, how the heck did you get there? You know.
Yeah.
Once in a while, it's pretty rare, but I've seen it a few times.
All right, my controls.
Your controls.
about even right now. Well, this is miles an hour, you said, right?
Yeah, it's miles an hour. Knots is on the inner scale, so we're doing like 95 knots and 115 over the ground. So like,
Yeah.
20 knot tailwind.
Is this, I know you grew up here, but is this your favorite island of all the islands?
Yeah, I'm a little biased. I like this island. I honestly, I really like Kauai too, but Kauai's got nothing going on. I mean, if you're, I've got some friends there, so every time I go there, like it's fun, but after like 2-3 days, you're like, wow, this island's tiny and there's nothing going on it. Yeah. Maui's really pretty. I could probably see myself living on Maui too, but it's kind of slowly becoming like the LA of Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
And then Oahu's just way too crowded. Oahu's pretty. There's stuff to do, but it's just kind of crowded. I like the Big Island. The Big Island's like the friendliest. It's big enough that you don't really feel like you're trapped. You know, you've actually got some room to spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
And as long as you're like an outdoorsy person, you like going out to the beach or hiking or being immersed in the land. The Big Island's pretty good.
Yeah, we've only been here almost a week. It seems like it's a lot more of a country vibe.
It really is.
Like we went to the Saturday market. That was fun.
The Hilo one or the Kona one?
Waimea.
Oh, the Waimea. Oh, that one's actually even better.
Yeah. Yeah,
the Waimea market's pretty nice.
We hit both of them up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's a weird combination of like small town and like just plain rural meets like touristy. Like I don't know, it's kind of weird. And what's interesting about it too is like each little community is totally different. So I mean, Hilo is totally different than Kona. Waimea is totally different than either of them. Like in its own way, there's similarities, but they're different enough that you kind of feel like you're in a whole different area just by. I mean, you are, but you're only 10 minutes away from the different area.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
I was kind of looking at doing a like a goat bow hunt or something. Would be kind of cool. Or it's hard to do it because there's so much private land.
There is. There's a lot of hunting areas too. I'm not sure how Hawaii's permitting works for that. If you're like not gonna like live here, you know what I mean? Like I don't know how it works for like a visiting hunting permit and stuff. But there's a lot of invasive species. We got the axis deer, we've got the pigs, we've got the goats.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff for people to hunt like all year.
I looked up the out of state tag for 3 goats a day was $25.
That's not bad at all. I'm surprised that they're even charging you for it. To be fair.
I think the resident was like 20. Something like that.
Yeah, that's 3 goats a day. Yeah, what are you going to do with that much meat? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you would basically do it just for the hunt and then like donate the meat to
pretty much
homeless shelter or something,
Yeah, that's
if they would take it. I don't.
They might. I don't know. I was laughing actually because I was driving home a couple weeks ago and a county guy had hit a turkey on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Like right before Pohakaloa. And they were all like hush-hush about it on the side of the road, but they were like loading the turkey in the back of their truck. I was like, right on. It's a state vehicle, and they're like, yeah, bro, like, got some turkey. Take it home. Kind of funny.
Are turkeys invasive here? Pretty sure they are.
They, like, yes.
Introduced.
I mean, they're introduced. They're not native at all, but
yeah.
They're not like running rampant. I mean, they're around, but they're definitely not like the pigs and the goats and the sheep. The sheep are getting crazy too up on the mountain.
Yet. They're not running rampant yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Still 2,110 2,000 westbound.
Public traffic, Cessna 658, we're coming up beam the field 1,400, east to west transition along the shoreline. Upola.
when we transition back onto the backside of the mountain, is it going to be all the same bumps?
Most likely, I mean, knock on wood, but it's usually not as bad coming back. Something about the tailwind versus headwind component. Just comes a little smoother.
We just got to watch out that the wind shear doesn't sink us too much.
That's pretty much it, yeah.
Yeah. I'll give us a climb a little bit before we get there.
Yeah,
Give us
15 to 2. If you can get the 2, that'd probably work out pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, because your climb gradient is horrible with the tailwind.
Yeah.
But any climb we can get will be good. Yeah, usually what I'll do is I'll stay like right along the shoreline, and sometimes you can kind of thread through underneath the mountain wave. It's always a gamble. It depends on how strong the winds are, because generally speaking, altitude and distance are your friends, but not always. Sometimes you can get by snaking in like real close underneath the wind.
Yeah, I'm barely in a climb here.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah, 100 foot a minute. Yeah, well, what's interesting too is even at like all of our altitudes out here are like a plus 2,000 density. So like even at sea level, I mean, you're 2,200, 2,300 foot density altitude. So yeah, you're at 2,000, 1,500 feet. Plane feels like it's at 4 plus a hefty tailwind. It don't want to climb.
Yeah. That's weird at such a high density altitude at sea level.
Yeah, it's just the heat and humidity.
Or low density altitude.
High density altitude, yeah. That's one of the many logical fallacies in aviation. It's like ridge versus trough. It's like,
Yeah.
High density altitude makes you feel like your plane is at a high altitude, when in reality it's a lower altitude than that actual felt altitude.
Yep.
Yeah, this wind shear extends for a couple hundred miles out to sea. It's pretty crazy. I don't know how far it would go today, but especially when it's very, very strong and defined like it is today, it'll extend a good ways out. They think it's one of the primary ways the Polynesians found Hawaii, actually, because they just be sailing across the ocean, and they go from, relatively smooth water, calm winds, to all of a sudden strong winds, rough seas, and they can see the line on the water. They're like, what the heck, man? Something's causing that. So they would tack into the wind and sail upwind, and eventually they find an island and find something that's causing it.
Interesting, yeah, I never thought about that.
And then like the real tell would be the birds. If they notice short-range birds, they know it came from something nearby. And so they'd start searching around, find an island. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've done direct 2 flights from like Honolulu directly back to Kona, and at any given point on that flight, you're about 80 miles from land. And yeah, I mean, when you cross over this shear line, you see it right on the water. But you can see an island maybe like a little bit way off in the distance, but you still see a very defined shear line on the water. You don't feel it. There's no turbulence associated with it that far out. But you'll still see the color change on the water.
When you're doing your training, do you do a lot of cross-country to other islands?
Not so much for the primary training, not for like student pilot to private pilot. Mostly just because we don't solo students over the channels. At least not until you get your license and get some more experience under your belt. Yeah. It's just an unnecessary risk, and things change quick, and it's easy to get a little turned around. I mean, it's really hard to get lost in Hawaii, but it's easy to get like a little bit what's what I'm looking for in the way with ATC and everything else.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, for like the later stages of training, we do for commercial and instrument rating and stuff. And frankly, for some of my students, if helo is just not working, like we'll do the dual cross-country flight portion over to like Kona or Lanai or something, just for fun. Why not? The funny thing is, you can actually depart Kona, go all the way around Maui County, so around Maui Island, around Molokai, over to Lanai and back. And you can do that whole flight in the same amount of time, maybe like a tenth or two longer, but pretty much the same amount of time as it takes to go around the Big Island. So, like if you're going to do any sort of serious flying, I mean, it makes sense to go inter-island. You can see more, do more, go farther.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the metric that freaks me out, but you can fit all the other islands inside the big island. In fact, the entire island of Kauai can fit in between Kohala Mountain and Mauna Kea, that little gully in between, the Waimea Basin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can fit the entire island of Kauai in there.
Wow.
I like this too, because you can like see it's just blowing you offshore.
Yep.
There we go, right on the boundary edge of it. That's where the worst turbulence is.
Yeah, it's crazy seeing the clouds are moving so fast right there.
Right.
In fact, if we probably drop down, we'll get out of it faster.
Yeah, probably. Drop down a little bit.
Alright.
West-wide traffic, Cessna 65A, 1800, offshore Mahu Kona, southbound for Kona.
Hey, how you doing back there?
I'm good.
How much longer are you guys gonna be on island for?
Saturday?
We leave Sunday.
Sunday.
Oh, okay. That's not bad, because it still gives you some time to go out, check things out, do some stuff.
Yeah, we've been wanting to go south to the Black Beaches and possibly look at the volcano. I don't know if we'll get a chance to go up to the...
It's worth it if you can. So, Kilauea, the Volcanoes National Park, they'll let you in for free after, I think, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you want to pay the fee, that's fine too, but you can go in up there at night, and you can't go all the way to Jagger anymore. The Jagger Museum's closed since 2018. The eruption just literally repaved that whole area. I mean, it exploded the whole caldera. The crater rim expanded, and parts right by Jagger are like getting ready to fall in. But you can still park up by Jagger Museum. And but either way, there's a trail. There's a little ridge trail that starts from that parking lot to the left, and you can walk along that. You get some really pretty views of the caldera at night. Yeah. And it is active right now. I mean, there is actually some magma flowing in and filling in the caldera, so yeah, pretty neat. And then South Point. South Point's nice. There's a 30 to 50 foot cliff that you can jump off at South Point with the world's sketchiest ladder to get back out of, but the water with. But and the green sand beach down there is cool too. I don't know if the car that you guys have would make it to green sands. Probably not. But you can always walk it or hike it, or there's always a guy out there that's got a truck. Pay him like 10 or 20 bucks a head or whatever. He'll drive you out there. Huh. But
yeah, there's a big lava tube. Or is that just a shadow? I don't know.
I'm not really sure.
It looks like it.
Probably a tube, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tubes that enter the ocean. There's actually really good lobster prawning over here, believe it or not. You can go under with a 3-prong and catch lobsters. Huh. But I'm not exactly sure where. I know there's a couple coves, and everybody who knows the spot doesn't want to share the spot. I just know that there's spots.
270 turn northbound, 1,600 climbing.
Yeah, my brother said no for his car to the green sand.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him.
No.
You actually do need like a beefy 4-wheel drive to make that happen, or just really don't care about your vehicle, one of the two.
I climb us back up a little bit.
We're going to try 215, just Waipi'o help or beaching AB, 500 climbing.
He wants to get another Jeep. He sold one before he came here, and he's like, I shouldn't have sold it.
Yeah, I'm kind of bad. My dad had a nice Rubicon. It was like straight 6 with the lockers, the 411 gears. Like it was beefy with like some 33-inch wheels or tires rather on it. And like he could go everywhere on the island with it. Then he ended up selling it. And I wish I had the money for it at the time to buy it off him, because it was like a really nice Jeep.
Yeah.
But they're a hot commodity. I mean, it lets you go places. And that's really all there is to do on this island is go places. So that's why, like, as you fly around, or even if you drive around, you see all these trails that go who knows where.
Yep.
But if you got the vehicle to do it, I mean, that's where all the secret spots are, all the cool stuff.
Oh. Yeah.
Cessna 658, 1,500, just offshore the north end of Kohala Estates. We're following the shoreline southbound towards Kona.
Yeah, I try to watch for good deals. They'll have it shipped over if I can find them something good and cheap.
Yeah, that's, I toyed with the notion of doing that too.
AB for Kauai, at 1,000 climbing.
It's a big, rich neighborhood right there, Jesus.
Yeah, Kohala Ranch and Kohala Estates.
Yeah.
So we have like 2 or 3 helicopters heading our way. I'm not really sure. I think it's just 2.
Okay.
One of them was at like 1,200 climbing, and one of them's just called in at 1,000 climbing. They just head offshore at A-Bay down the coast, and they're heading this way.
Okay.
So we'll just want to be on alert. I'm not sure exactly where. They tend to either be right over the land, or, you know, maybe another half mile to a mile further offshore than where we currently are. So if we stay like just on the coast, we'll probably be alright. We'll just keep looking out for them.
And they're blue. Perfect color.
Yeah, I know, right? So 658's Kauai High, 1,500 southbound, about a quarter mile, half mile offshore for Kona.
216 coming your way, currently off of Puako 2,200 northbound.
We're looking for you.
City's on 2,200.
200, yeah. I got one guy over there, that might be him. Little speck.
Turns off the coast of Puna Beach, descending to 1,500. I got you inside there, I'm going to continue on towards Kauai High Harbor for about 2 miles of trail.
And I'll wave my wing at him.
Yeah. And 658's got you in sight there doing the S-turns. We're 1.5, looks like we're going to be just above you.
Oh, and I see the other one right there.
And 658's got number 2 as well.
Alright, look for you. I got you inside there, be right to right with you.
Sounds good.
You ever think about doing helicopters?
Oh yeah. If it wasn't so pricey.
Yeah.
The training out here, the R44s are 400 an hour, not including the R22s are 400 an hour, not including instructors. The 44s are 600 an hour, not including instructors. And the Turbine R66, they don't do training in it, but that one is 1,000 an hour.
Yeah.
So it adds up real quick.
Yeah, it sounds like you need to go to the States for a couple months.
Yeah.
Be cheaper, way cheaper.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know what you guys are going to charge out here, but I was just going to go for it anyway. But back at my little FBO, it's for a 172, it's 160 an hour with an instructor.
With an instructor, yeah, we're quite a bit more than that.
Yeah.
For this flight, I believe it is either 250 or 275 for the plane, and then like 100 for the instructor per hour. So I think you're like 350 or like 400 an hour, something like that.
Yeah.
Wet. But I mean, that being said, I think I mentioned it earlier, but at $10 a gallon,
Yeah.
the DLC is pretty rough. So,
yeah, we're going to be in this probably 12 to 15 gallons.
yeah, give or take. But I mean, it's comparable. What's nice about this kind of thing is, I mean, you get to fly yourself. You can loiter a little bit if you want to check something out. You literally can pick your own route, and you get to log it.
Yeah.
And you're still probably only going to pay, you know, what it would cost for one of you, like one person, to fly on a helicopter. So
Yeah, exactly.
maybe 1.5 at most, you know.
Yep.
Both in Waipi'o, and all of its goodness.
Temperature 29er, dew point 22, altimeter 3002. ILS, VOR, DME, and visual approaches in use, landing and departing, runway 17. Hazardous weather information available on flight service frequencies. Advise on initial contact, give information Alpha.
Yeah. That one does too, for what it's worth.
Kona Tower, information Alpha, 2253 Zulu, wind 240 at 9er.
Alpha.
240 at 9.
So we're going to have
a good right crosswind.
Right crosswind.
Yeah. 240 at 12 is pretty much like par for the course for Kona.
Yeah.
It's 70 degrees off runway at 12 knots. So yeah, it's a pretty good right crosswind component. The general notion with our airport is you got to get in, get down, get off quick. Because we're dealing with jet traffic, so we'll keep our speed up till we're relatively close.
9 Waipi'o heliport for the speed out, south side of A Bay, 600 climbing.
Cessna 658, we're just off the south end of A Bay at 1.5 southbound for Kona.
2 in sight, I'll be well behind you, beating out here.
Yeah, it should be no factor for you.
Oh, do we land long at all?
A little bit. So we ideally try to target getting off at Gulf, which is the first taxiway, but it's, you know, it's 4,500 feet down the runway.
Yeah.
So we really don't need to land like on the number or threshold. If we're wheels down by like the 2,500 foot marker, that's pretty comfortable to get off at Gulf.
Okay.
Like second to last marker on our end of the runway. But we'll see what they want us to do. But yeah, that's just the general way it works. Typically this plane, if you're coming in over the number 70 to 75 and like 20 to 25 degrees of flaps, that's about where it likes to live. This flap lever is goofy. You have to like actively hold it down to get it to deploy.
Yeah.
And it's about 10 degrees every 3 seconds. I mean, the indicator's right there. You can play with it as you need.
Okay. And we're obviously going to be doing a straight in.
Yeah, we'll plan on just following the shoreline in. That's like 9 times out of 10. That's what it wants us to do. And if they need us to do any sort of maneuvering for spacing, they'll probably just have us do a 360 or 2 along the way. And if they do, it's just going to be a standard rate 360.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's work our way in and see what they want us to do.
Pass about miles southeast of the ground ball to the backside. Kona Kanandui at 4.7 climb.
So now all the tour guys are heading that way, so we just missed them. Cool. Which is good.
So when the the whales are like migrating through, can you see them pretty good?
Oh yeah.
Coming in and out of here?
Yeah, you'll see them clear as day. They actually really love this bay. If you're in the market to just go to a black sand beach, this is the one I recommend, by the way, is Kiholo. This big giant black sand beach off the right side of the beach there. The road is easy to miss that leads down, and you got to hike the last little bit of it, but it's really not that bad. You go from basically the apex of the bend of the road down, you can park, and then just walk into the beach. But that's one of the nicer black sand beaches. The one that's always advertised is Punaluu, and it's nice. You'll see a lot of turtles there and stuff, but it's not really a great swimming beach or like one that you want to hang out on and, you know, pitch a tent and hang out for any length of time. This one, however, is. This one's pretty nice.
Huh.
Cessna 658, Kiholo Bay, 1,500 offshore for Kona. This will be final call.
Alpha, we got company traffic in sight.
Helicopter 721 Hotel, Kona Tower, departure from Alpha Kilo, Alpha Kilo, clear for takeoff. Proceed to the north practice area. You have one company helicopter there, wind is 2409er.
Alpha Kilo, clear for takeoff, keep an eye on the traffic. 1 Hotel.
Kona Tower, Cessna 19658. We are 9 miles northeast at 1,500 inbound for landing with Alpha.
Helicopter 7 Romeo Bravo, one company helicopter will be joining you.
We'll be looking for traffic, 7 Romeo Bravo.
Cessna 19658, Kona Tower, proceed inbound. Proceed direct the numbers. Report 3 miles northeast for sequencing.
Proceed direct the numbers, report 3 northeast, 658.
Kona Tower, Socket 39 on the south ramp. Request departure to the south with Alpha.
It sounded like they want us to hurry up.
Yeah, so if we want to go direct the numbers, if you look at the black lava rock, like
verify you
opposite
have
of the
the
peninsula,
helicopter departing
there's like that
Alpha Kilo
little
in
horn
sight.
that sticks out.
I do
Like,
have
you have the one with the industrial buildings on it, and you have one in the foreground.
From the south
Yeah.
ramp,
That little one is closer to where the threshold is, so we can turn to the left just a little bit.
They will be headed
Maybe like 15 degrees to the left, 10 degrees to the left, and that'll point us more towards the
Yeah,
threshold.
I see the tower.
Yeah,
it's right about
take
there.
the power parallax over like, I don't know, a 5
like
or 10 degree
like
wedge.
this mound right here, I'm just to the right of it is where I see the numbers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you can see the runway markings there. Yep. Like the little white patch in the black lava rock. We'll just proceed directly there. We'll call her at 3 miles. Yeah, whenever the whales are here, they do tend to favor the Kona coast just because it's a little bit shallower. They just like the waters over here a little better, especially up by Kohala. But they love that bay, Kiholo Bay. The earliest I've ever seen them is just before Halloween, but that's exceedingly rare. Usually they don't start showing up until just about the end of the year, and then they're usually gone by like mid-March. Early February is like the peak time to see the whale activity.
Oh.
Like late January, early to mid-February. Alright, pre-landing check, gas undercarriage mixture, prop, seatbelts, look good.
Switches, yeah, we haven't touched the lights at all.
Yeah, all the lights are on, we're doing fine. That beach, however, that is the nicest beach on the island, Makalavena. There's 2 ways to get there. 1, beefy 4-wheel drive, which don't recommend. Or 2, you go to Kekahakai, the other beach. There's a little, the car that you guys have could easily make that other drive to Kekahakai. You walk to the north end of the beach and across like maybe a quarter mile of black lava rock, but it'll take you to Makalavena. That beach is like definitely worth it, yeah.
Huh.
And we're going to want to start coming down.
04, over
Yep.
Becky, ILS 17, touch go.
Hercules 04, Kona Tower, runway 17,
Alright, we're
clear
gonna
for
go
the option,
carpet
wind 250 at 10.
Clear for the option, runway 17,
Trim a
Hercules
little
04,
bit
thanks.
here. Yeah, I'm going to trim a little bit
Cessna
slower here.
19658, present position, left 360 to follow C-130 traffic, 8 mile final, report traffic in sight when able.
Present position, left 360, we'll be looking for the C-130, 658. Alright, we'll just go standard rate. There you go, you can shallow it out a little bit. He's 8 miles out, and he's a C-130, he's not the fastest thing around. Pretty fast, definitely faster than us, but not that fast. So we'll just keep an eye out for him.
Bumpy bump.
Yep. The classic Cessna problem where you're moving your head back and forth around the pylon trying to look for traffic. Oh, I've got him. He's like almost 9 o'clock, like 10 o'clock.
Oh, I got him.
Cessna 658, we got the C-130 in sight.
Cessna 658, roger, proceed inbound to follow, number 2, runway 17, cleared to land, caution wake turbulence, wind 2609er.
Inbound to follow number 217, clear to land, and we'll caution the wake, 658. There you go. And you can literally just roll out back along the shoreline or whatever and
Yeah.
come back towards the road.
Yeah, I don't want to be too close to that guy.
Yeah, I don't blame it. He'll be well and gone by the time we get in. It'll be more than 3 minutes. Wake usually only lingers for 3 minutes, and with the winds as strong as they are on the field, not that they're that crazy strong, but
That's true, it blows it
they'll
off pretty
blow
quick.
it off pretty quick, yeah. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. C-130s aren't really too bad either. At least it's not a C-17. We get those guys in here from time to time.
Alright, carb heat on 1800. And is your seatbelt on back there?
I presume.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go. 1,000 feet over that white sandy beach is glide slope. So I would say stay just a little above 1,000 till we're past that beach, just to keep us above his flight path coming in.
Gotcha.
Because he's on glide coming in. In fact, actually, this is the ILS loaded in there. So that horizontal CDI, that's your glide slope bar. If you hold
Gotcha.
altitude and get closer, you'll see it migrate down.
That's nice. There's a glide slope.
Yeah, there you go. Now you can see the pappies too. So 3 white, 1 red. That's kind of where we want to live.
Yeah.
And we'll just, I didn't actually see exactly where he touched down, but it's not going to even be a factor by the time we get there. I would say just land a little
Did he
long.
go around?
He's going to touch and go.
Okay. Alright, let's get us in a white arc here. Pull the nose up.
Yep, 100 miles an hour is a white arc on this guy.
Yeah, so we're going to do 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 1. That registered 10 degrees.
Yep.
Hercules 04, contact departure, good flight.
Switch to departure, Hercules 04, thanks.
Alright, and we got to think of that wind too.
Yep, a little bit of a right crosswind. Nothing major. What I usually like to do is just crab on final, get a feel for like what it's going to take, and then if you're really worried about the crosswind when you're still a couple hundred feet up, start correcting for it and just see like what kind of rudder authority it's going to take to drag the nose.
It has
over.
been a while for a crosswind, so
I'll kind of go sit with you just in case.
Yeah.
I usually do anyway. Just out of.
Alright, we're going to go second notch. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000.
There we go. Just work on slowing it to final speed. We want like 70 to 75. Maybe 75. 75 will help you with the wind a little bit.
Yeah.
And with our right crosswind, it's going to be left rudder to drag the nose straight, right aileron into the wind. So rudder is what's going to align you. Aileron is going to stop the side-to-side drift. Now you're just going to keep those controls in all the way to and through touchdown.
405 Charlie Mike at South Bravo, holding short of Delta, requesting departure to the southeast with information Alpha.
Helicopter 405 Charlie Mike, Alpha Delta, clear for takeoff. Proceed on course to the southeast, wind 240 at 10.
Alpha Delta, clear for takeoff 405 Charlie Mike.
Never had left rudder on final.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy, right? It's the wrong rudder. You never use that foot.
Yeah. A little fast.
Yeah, that's alright. Airspeed's looking good. So at this point in the approach, what I'd say is just a little more rudder, a little more aileron. There you go. Drive it right down to the asphalt. Just keep the nose low. Get us right down to the ground effect. There you go.
Power?
Yep, chop the power and just float it out. Patience. Beautiful. And then just keep that right aileron in there. And then like as you start to decelerate, you'll just bury it for the crosswind.
Yeah.
And that'll keep you from like listing. Cool, beautiful. I'll bring your flaps up, keep us anchored.
RB in.
Cool, and we'll plan to vacate at Gulf, unless she tells us otherwise. Tower 658, we can make Gulf, if we can roll down to Charlie to get around southwest, so that'll work.
Cessna 658, you can roll to Charlie, left at Charlie, and then contact ground point 9er.
Left at Charlie, ground point 9er, thank you much, 658. 658. Yeah, we'll go all the way down to Charlie, because I just saw Southwest push back onto Alpha there, so instead of sitting on the ramp forever, waiting to get around him, we'll just roll down to Charlie.
Kona helicopter 405 Charlie, Mike, at upwind requesting to follow the shoreline to the southbound.
Helicopter 5 Charlie Mike, approved.
Approved 5 Charlie, Mike.
So this hotel, Charlie's like a good ways down. It's just past the first marker that you can, actually the second marker, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
You can see there.
The Cessna suspension is wonderful.
Oh yeah, it's great. I tell my students that too. I'm like, you know, it's funny because like they did all this R&D and they spent all this money, this huge budget to make like a really good flying, stable airframe, great training platform and everything. And they got to the end of the budget, they had like $20 left, and they were like, crap, we forgot about steering. Like, looked around, found some springs on the ground, and like, yeah, that'll work. Like, throw them in there.
Yeah.
Same thing with the suspension, it's great. Flies good, doesn't drive so well.
I wonder, have you flown an RG Cessna?
I flew a Cardinal RG Cessna, yeah.
Is that suspension different? Because it's like
horrible.
It's like beam. It's like that rod or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard. It's way stiffer than this. The spring steel is actually kind of nice. At least with the RG, it actually cruises. So you're flying a Cessna, but it actually goes. It goes at a decent speed.
Yeah.
But it's horrible. The landing suspension's rough. Every landing I did, doesn't matter how I tried to feather it out, I'd still have a bumpy landing. So yeah, we'll get past the whole trail, I'll call ground. Probably going to get Alpha Kilo, so we'll take a left on Alpha and then over, but we'll see what they want us to do. Kona ground, Cessna 19658, we're clearing 17 at Charlie, request taxi depart.
Cessna 19658, Kona ground, taxi via Alpha Kilo to the ramp.
Alpha Kilo to the ramp, 658. Oh, so we'll take a left here, and then we'll take an immediate right. Alright. Then once you get like a beam those hangars, like where Mokulele is or so, I can take over. I'll drive it in for parking.
Okay.
Alright, like anywhere in here. I'll take it.
Air controls.
Thank you much.
Hawaiian 277 requesting taxi.
Hawaiian 277, runway 17, taxi via Alpha, follow the Aloha Cargo 737.
Alpha 17, follow the cargo aircraft Hawaiian 277.